Oh, it's a hot day. Hi folks, it's Rich here. Thank you for tuning in. Before I go on, the important thing with this one is in the description there's going to be a link to a presentation I did a few years ago, Dragon's Den style. It was on camera, it's on YouTube actually. It's on camera. There were four highfalutin people from the business that I was pitching to. I worked for a business with £1 million turnover at the time. They had about 2 billion turnover, and we were trying to get our product infiltrated into their business. They were going to promote it throughout the business. If you got 4 yeses, I got 3. Presentation isn't perfect, but there are some good examples in there of the things I'm about to talk about. Now, whilst I'm in a sales type role, I'm a specification salesperson in construction industry, so I'm not a commodity salesperson. It's a consultative type role, and I do a lot of presenting in it, and I have done for many years. I've had bits of training on things over the years, but I'm not pretending I'm a trainer or I'm an expert by any stretch. But over the years, I've had a lot of jobs with blue chip businesses, so I would say I've been fortunate to work for them. Not lucky, because I've worked my way into them. So I think lucky and fortunate are two different things, really. So I've been fortunate to work for those businesses, and I've also helped friends get jobs. And when they've had to present on something, I've helped rewrite CVs for people, and done a number of things from a presenting point of view. Not because I think I'm the big I am, but just because that's, I don't know, it's a strength, I suppose. And my track record shows that in terms of winning jobs, contracts, and doing things that where presenting has been important. So I just wanted to go over a few key aspects, in my opinion, about presenting. And I say in the description is going to be that link to the Dragon's Den type presentation that I had to do a few years ago, which will show a few of these things. I'm going to do some other videos that will be specific to job interviewing, presenting, actually putting presentations together, and how best I think you can get a job and how I have got jobs, from doing it. But a few key things on presenting. Excuse me, I've got some scruffy notes here just as a reminder to myself. So the first one, and I think this is the biggest one, people get really nervous, don't they, about doing presentations. And you've got to ask yourself, why are you nervous? If you're just someone who has a naturally nervous disposition, it's a tough one. You've got to try and overcome that. But my opinion on why people are mostly nervous is because they either don't know the actual presentation they're doing well enough, or they don't know the topic well enough. If you don't know what you're talking about, you've got every right to be nervous, so you should. The fact is, even if you know your presentation inside out and back to front, and you know your topic, there'll always be somebody who knows a bit more in the room. And that's just the way it is in life with anything you do. There's always somebody who knows something a bit more. Someone down the gym's got bigger muscles, someone's taller, someone's fatter, short. It doesn't matter. There's always someone with more than you've got. So, but that should not make you feel nervous. You should feel confident that you know what you're doing. And also, if somebody asks you a question you can't answer, you just find that the appropriate way of harking it up. So you'll say, I don't know the answer to that one. Can we pick this up after the presentation? But the key thing here I'm trying to say is, if you don't know your topic to start with, or you don't know the presentation, that's probably why you're nervous. And that should be the same whether you're presenting to 2 or 3 people or 100 people. If you don't know your topic and you don't know your presentation, you'll still look an idiot in front of 2 or 3 people, the same as you would in front of 100 people. So it makes no difference. The number of people in the room is totally irrelevant. If you know your topic and you know the presentation itself, then all you've got to do is go out there and be yourself. It's that simple. No need for nerves. And whilst I'm talking about nerves, one of the things that comes in a lot, and this is partly nerves and partly just poor presenting, is the use of and I cannot bear it, and nor can anyone else listening. We must all have been in a presentation at some point where somebody's talking and quite often then goes to as well, and a pause. How many times does that happen? I'm so sad. Some presentations I've been in that really wind me up, and there are a few people at work that fall into this category, sadly. I've got a tally chart. How many or ums have they done? I get to the end of the presentation and that person has done like 70, 80, even 100. Almost as many bloody and ums as words they've said. Do not say and If you talk to somebody in the work corridor or your friends on a Friday night, do you and all the time? If you do, and that's just the way you are, then you've got some extra work to do to be better at presenting. But if you don't, then why are you when you're presenting? If you're not sure what to say, if you've got a mind blank, if you've just, I don't know, you're having a moment, it doesn't matter what it is, you take a pause, you say nothing. That brief pause of doing nothing and saying nothing gives you in fact, it's less stressful because it gives you a little moment to kind of, to recalculate, you know, to sort of just set yourself back up and go again. And you haven't annoyed people by going, you've just said nothing, you've paused. And actually that pause is usually a shorter period of time than an or an anyway. So, and ums, they have got to go. And the only way you'll know if you're doing this is if you present this to a camera, like just a phone camera, whatever, or to a friend or something, so they can pick it up. Otherwise, you just generally wouldn't know it too often. So, and ums have got to go. The other thing is eye contact and body language. Depending on the size of your audience, this can be easier or less easy, but lean in, lean out, use people's names so they feel engaged and you feel like you've got them in the room. Because when you're presenting, you are in control. You need to feel like you're in control. You don't need a heckler or someone making you feel uncomfortable, putting you off your rhythm and your stride and the pitch that you're doing, or somebody putting you off what you're doing in some other way so that you end up going and You're in control. It's your presentation. They've come to see you because you're the relative expert on the topic. So own it, you know. So I will, if I'm talking to someone, if David's in the room, and if the room isn't huge and I can or whatever, I'll say, oh, I know David's in the room. Thanks for coming, David. So what do you think about this? Gives yourself a moment to have a pause. Let them talk or get their buy-in, particularly if you're pitching a product or a service perhaps, and in a job interview scenario as well, this happens. So David, wouldn't you agree that? It's going to be difficult for him to go, actually, Rich, no. But if he does say that, I say, okay, great. So what is your opinion? I'm always up for learning. But ultimately, using people's names, getting their buy-in really helps as well. So, quick recap, and then please go down into the description, watch my Dragon's Den style video, make some comments, and we'll come back to this. And I will do some other videos shortly, which will be specific to presenting to get a job. What sort of presentation you should put together, what things you should do in terms of preparation to get that interview. Might even talk about CV prep as well, but that's a bit more difficult without doing some graphics types things on here. But I will talk to you about how I've managed to get a number of jobs with blue chip businesses, even when at some of those interviews I've had objections about. So Richard, I see you've jumped from this job to that job in not a big space of time. Why is that? I've got around that and I'll tell you how I did that. But for now, presenting, so you must know your topic, absolutely critical. Ers and ums out of the window, stop those. You must own that presentation. Get people's buy-in, use their names, use some body language, use eye contact with them. You take control of that process. And I think the last one, just before I sign off for you to watch the video, which I shall put in, is, have you ever been to a presentation where there's where there's the PowerPoint displayed on the wall, someone stood by it and they walk backwards and forwards a bit, so their voice drifts away because then they're not looking at you anymore and they're walking along and you're following them. That is really annoying and it's not the thing to do. A lot of presenters think it's a great thing to do. Yeah, it's all about me and look at me and follow me. Yes, it's about you, it's your presentation. But walking around is distracting and it's irritating. And unless they've got a mic on, and even then sometimes, the voice goes in and out because they're moving around. If you've got your screen here and you're stood next to your screen, sure, use your hands as body language, as I do. Move in and out a little bit. That's fine, we're going to be glued to the spot. But don't walk around. People don't like it. They think you're an idiot. It's distracting and it's just poor technique. So don't do that. Right. Without further ado, thank you for listening to this little monologue. Like I say, ask any questions you like and I'll do a follow-up video. In the description, after I've uploaded this, I will go back into it and I will put the link to the Dragon's Den type of presentation I had to do under camera. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm really tired, you can see my eyes. I had a bit more hair then. And hopefully it's of use to somebody. If it helps even one person, then it was worthwhile me sitting here getting hot in this chair chuntering. Right, thank you very much. Rich out.